The sun hung low over the vast Montana plains, casting long shadows across the sprawling acres of the Double. Bar Ranch, dust kicked up from the gravel road as Emily's old pickup truck rattled to a stop in front of the weathered barn. She was 28, with sun-kissed skin and hair, tied back in a ponytail that spoke of long days under the relentless sky. She'd inherited the place from her late father 2 years ago, but running a ranch alone in the heart of Big Sky country was wearing her down. Bills piled up like hay bales, and the isolation gnawed at her soul. That's why she'd hired Jake Harlan, a rugged rancher in his mid-30s. Fresh off a stint working cattle drives down in Texas, he was tall, broad-shouldered, with calloused hands and eyes that seemed to pierce right through you. Emily stepped out, wiping sweat from her brow. The summer heat was brutal, even as evening approached. "Jake, you in there?" she called, her voice echoing off the wooden beams. The barn doors creaked open, and there he was, shirt sleeves rolled up, a sheen of perspiration on his tanned arms. He was fixing a fence post, tools scattered around him like forgotten promises. "Yeah, boss lady." "What's up?" He straightened, his gaze lingering a second. Too long on her fitted jeans and the way her tank top clung in the humidity. She hesitated, biting her lip. The truth was, she wasn't just here for work talk. Loneliness had a way of creeping in after dark, and Jake, well, he was the only man within miles who looked at her like she was more than just the ranch owner. "The well pump's acting up again. Water's barely trickling. Think you can take a look?" He nodded, grabbing his toolbox. "Lead the way." They walked side by side to the old well house at the edge of the property, the grass crunching under their boots. The air smelled of earth and wildflowers, mixed with the faint tang of livestock from the pastures beyond. As they worked, the conversation flowed easy. Stories of rodeos he'd ridden in, her memories of childhood horseback rides with her dad. But underneath it all, there was a tension, electric and unspoken. Emily had caught him watching her more than once, and truth be told, she'd done the same. By the time they fixed the pump, night had fallen. Stars blanketed the sky like scattered diamonds. "Thanks, Jake. I owe you one," she said, leaning against the wellhouse wall. He stepped closer, his breath warm against her cheek. "You don't owe me nothing, Emily, but if you're offering—" Her heart raced. It had been years since she'd felt a man's touch since her ex left her. "For the city lights." "What if I am?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the crickets. His hand brushed her arm, sending shivers down her spine. Before she knew it, his lips were on hers, rough and urgent. They stumbled back into the well house, the door slamming shut behind them. Clothes came off in a frenzy, her tank top tossed aside, his shirt unbuttoned to reveal a chest scarred from years of hard labor. He lifted her onto an old workbench, her legs wrapping around him as he pressed against her. "I can't take it," she gasped, the intensity overwhelming her. It had been too long. Her body ached with need. "Just do it," he murmured, his voice gravelly. "Deeper!" She arched her back, pulling him closer, lost in the moment. The well house echoed with their breaths, the world outside forgotten. But as passion built, something shifted in Jake's eyes, a darkness she hadn't noticed before. His grip tightened, not in ecstasy, but in control. "You like that, don't you?" He growled, his movements turning forceful. Emily's pleasure edged into discomfort. "Jake, slower," she panted, but he didn't listen. His hands pinned her wrists, his body dominating hers in a way that crossed from desire to dominance. "I said deeper," he repeated, his tone mocking her earlier words. Panic flickered in her chest. This wasn't right. She tried to push him away, but he was too strong, his rancher's build overpowering her. "Stop, Jake, stop!" she cried, but the isolation of the ranch swallowed her voice. The unthinkable happened then. He didn't stop. What started as mutual attraction twisted into violation, his actions fueled by a hidden rage she'd never seen. Tears streamed down her face as she fought. But the well house was too far from the main road, too remote for anyone to hear. When it was over, Jake stepped back, pulling on his pants with a cold detachment. "You wanted this," he said flatly, as if convincing himself. Emily curled up on the bench, sobbing, her body bruised and spirit shattered. He left her there, walking back to his bunkhouse like nothing had happened. The night air cooled, but inside Emily, a fire ignited, not of passion but revenge. She wouldn't let this break her. The ranch was hers, and so was her justice. The next morning, Emily woke with a resolve hardened like Montana granite. She avoided Jake at first, tending to the horses in the corral. The animals sensed her turmoil, whinnying softly as she brushed them. But she had a plan. The ranch had secrets, old tools, hidden spots, and a history of frontier justice her father had told her about. In the attic of the main house, she found her dad's old revolver, dusty but functional. She loaded it, tucking it into her belt. Jake approached her at noon, acting casual. "About last night." "Shut up," she snapped, her eyes blazing. "You're fired." "Get off my land." He laughed, a cruel sound. "You think you can run me off? I know what you are, Emily, a lonely widow playing at being tough." She didn't respond with words. Instead, she led him to the barn under the pretense of settling his pay. Once inside, away from prying eyes, though there were none, she pulled the gun. "You did the unthinkable, Jake. Now it's my turn." His face paled. "Whoa, easy there." "It was just what? Consensual?" She cocked the hammer. But killing him outright wasn't her style. No, she wanted him to suffer, to feel the helplessness she'd felt. She tied him to a post with baling twine, his protests muffled by a rag. Then she fetched the branding iron from the forge, heating it over a fire she'd started in the corner. The ranch brand, a double bar, glowed red-hot. "You said deeper," she whispered, echoing his words as she pressed the iron to his chest. His screams echoed through the barn, but the vast plains absorbed them. The smell of burning flesh filled the air, a sickening reminder of power reversed. When it was done, she untied him, shoving him toward his truck. "Leave and never come back. If you tell anyone, I'll say you attacked me first." "Who do you think they'll believe, the local girl or the drifter?" Jake stumbled away, clutching his wound, driving off into the dust without a word. But Emily's nightmare wasn't over. Days turned to weeks, and paranoia set in. She jumped at shadows, double-checked locks. The ranch felt haunted now, every creak a reminder. Then one stormy night, lightning cracking across the sky, she heard a truck pull up. Peering out the window, she saw Jake's vehicle, headlights piercing the rain. He'd come back. For revenge. To finish what he started? Heart-pounding, she grabbed the revolver and slipped out the back door, circling around through the mud. The barn loomed ahead, its doors ajar. She crept inside, rain drumming on the tin roof. Jake was there, rummaging through tools, his back to her. "Looking for something?" She called, gun raised. He spun, a knife in hand. "You ruined me, bitch. That brand, doctors say it'll scar forever. Now you'll pay." They circled each other like predators. Lightning flashed, illuminating his twisted face. He lunged, knife slashing. Emily dodged, firing a shot that grazed his arm. He howled, tackling her to the hay-strewn floor. The struggle was brutal. Fists, kicks, the knife glinting dangerously close. "I can't take it anymore," she gasped as he pinned her, the blade at her throat. "Just do it," he sneered, pressing down. But deeper resolve surged in her. With a burst of strength, she kneed him, rolling free. Grabbing a pitchfork from the wall, she thrust it forward. The tines pierced his side, blood blooming on his shirt. He staggered back, eyes wide in shock. You did the unthinkable." She watched him slump, the life fading from his eyes. Thunder roared as she dragged his body to the old well, the one they'd fixed together. Pushing him in, she heard the splash far below. The rain would wash away the blood, the isolation her ally once more. Emily returned to the house, soaked and trembling. She poured a whiskey, staring at the storm. The ranch was hers again, but at what cost? The unthinkable had claimed them both. Months passed. The ranch thrived under her hand, new hires, better fences, cattle sold at premium. But whispers spread in town about the missing rancher. Emily played innocent, her story airtight. He'd left after a fight, never to return. One evening, as she rode the fence line, a new hand named Tom joined her. He was kind, with a gentle smile. Conversation flowed, and for the first time she felt a spark without fear. But as they dismounted by the well house, memories flooded back. "Something wrong?" Tom asked. She shook her head. "Just ghosts." That night, in the warmth of her bed, Tom's arms around her, she whispered, deeper, and this time it was on her terms. The rancher had done the unthinkable, but Emily had survived stronger unbowed. Yet in quiet moments, she wondered if the cycle would repeat. The plains were vast, secrets buried deep. In Montana, justice was personal, and the unthinkable always lurked just below the surface. The seasons changed. Winter blanketed the ranch in snow, isolating it further. Emily hired more help, including a young woman named Sarah to manage the books. Sarah was sharp from the city, but adapted quickly to rural life. They became friends, sharing coffee in the kitchen as blizzards howled outside. One day, Sarah found an old journal in the attic, Emily's father's. "This mentions a well incident from the 80s, she said curiously. Some drifter disappeared. Emily's blood ran cold. Old stories, best left buried. But Sarah dug deeper, her city curiosity unchecked. She explored the well house, finding traces, scratched wood, faded bloodstains under blacklight from her kit. Confronting Emily, "What happened here?" With Jake, Emily sighed, the weight lifting as she confessed. "He hurt me. I fought back." Sarah nodded, understanding. "Self-defense. But hiding it, that's the unthinkable part." Together, they decided to come clean. Calling the sheriff, Emily told her tale. Investigations confirmed her story. Jake's history of assaults in Texas surfaced. She was cleared, the body recovered, case closed as justified. Freed from the secret, Emily rebuilt. Tom proposed under the stars, and they married in a simple ceremony on the ranch. Sarah stayed on, becoming family. Years later, as Emily watched her children play in the fields, she reflected on that night. The words, "I can't take it, just do it deeper," had started a chain of darkness. But she'd emerged into light. The rancher had done the unthinkable, but so had she in surviving, in thriving. The Montana sun set once more, painting the sky in hues of redemption. The ranch endured, a testament to resilience in the face of the unimaginable. Word count 1428. Wait, that's short. I need to expand to 2,000. To reach 2,000 words, let's add more details, backstory, and scenes. Expanding. Add more on Emily's daily life. Describe the ranch in detail. Build up the tension before the incident. After, add more on her psychological state. Include subplots with neighbors or animals. The initial attraction. They shared dinners, rides. Emily's backstory, widowed. No, single after ex left. Make her divorced. Add scenes of ranch work, herding cattle, fixing fences together, building chemistry. After the assault, her recovery, therapy, no self-reliant. The revenge scene more detailed. The return and fight extended. Aftermath with community, final family life. Now rewriting with expansion, controlled 12 phase. The vast expanse of the Montana prairie stretched out like an endless sea of golden grass under the relentless summer sun. Emily Carter had called the Double Bar Ranch home her entire life. A 5,000-acre spread nestled in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains. At 28, she was the sole owner now, her father having passed from a